Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks for making your way here, for checking out the episode. You know how this works. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all the interviews that I put out every single week. You can find us Podcast Land, Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. That's me, Kyle Meredith, today talking with legendary animator Genndy Tartakovsky. You know Genndy from he created Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Star Wars Clone Wars, Hotel Transylvania, and et cetera, et cetera. Everything that he's still doing is still fantastic and is usually huge and iconic and legendary by the end of it. But today we're going to be talking about his first foray into adult animation. And I'm not talking about Sunday night Fox, American Dad, Family Guy, adult animation. I'm talking genitals on dogs. It's called Fixed. It's Netflix that you can find it on. Let's read the log line here. From visionary director Genndy Tartakovsky comes Fixed, an adult animated comedy about Bull, an average, all-around good dog who discovers he's going to be neutered in the morning. As the gravity of this life-altering event sets in, Bull realizes he needs one last adventure with his pack of best friends, as these are the last 24 hours with his balls. It's got a great cast too. Adam Devine is here. Idris Elba is here. Catherine Hahn, Fred Armisen, Bobby Moynihan, Beck Bennett, Michelle Buteau, River Gallo. I mean, it's kind of a murderer's row right there of actors who have lined up to be part of this. And Genndy and I are going to talk about bringing this story to life. It took like 16 years from the moment of inception and in pitch to finally arriving on Netflix. We get to talk about the adult animation part of it and how far you can push that. Why it might work now better than it might have in the past 10 years as conservative comedy takes a turn again, as we're seeing, some other raunch style comedy make its way out again. We'll talk about the styles, we'll talk about the voice actors and everything more. So let's just go ahead and jump into it and talk about Fixed on Netflix. It's Kyle Meredith with Genndy Tartakovsky.
No,
Have you answered all the questions today? Are there any left?
there's some around that haven't been asked yet. All the pressure's on you now.
All the pressure's on me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Especially when it's, listen, this has been so much fun to watch with Fixed. So let me be one of the ones today to congratulate you.
Thank you.
It's, so I guess we start at the beginning, right? As I understand, the pitch of this sort of happened in a light bulb moment with another pitch. Is that right?
Yeah, it really did. Like it's the inception of the idea was actually the characters, and they're all based on my childhood friends. And I was because they make me laugh so much, just like any friend group usually, especially if you're friends with the same people as you were a kid or high school. And so I was like, can I translate and exaggerate it into animated adults? And so I developed these characters. They were even different characters at the time. Like one was a pig and a bear and whatever they were. And so then I took that idea and I was like, maybe it's just a road trip movie. Like, who cares? It's about the characters. That was really the high concept pitch was it's like a Seinfeld feature,
Hmm.
right? It's really a movie about characters. Who cares about the plot? So I took it to Sony Animation and they loved it. They totally got it. But then they go, look, you still need a concept around this. And perhaps even an adult concept. And it was like lightning struck me instantly. Like I don't even remember thinking about it. And this doesn't, it doesn't happen a lot, if at all. And then I said, oh, well, what if they're dogs and one of them finds out he's going to get neutered in the morning? Right. And everybody laughed. Right. So it's the best elevator pitch ever. And it's the last night out for the dogs. And that's it. And then they pretty much just bought it right there. And we started developing it.
Yeah. Let me say too, though, I'm a big fan of the, if you want to call it plotless movie. Like, there's a lot of great movies that survive greats, on the road style.
Right.
So I would have also been interested in that movie just the same. But getting to the neutered thing, which I thought, I know there's no connection to your time at Two Stupid Dogs, but there's a really fun little connection there if you want to look at the history. But the world of dogs, it's so rich, and you play into every one of those things. I have a dog. We have a dog here. And everything that you said is like, we've said that about the dog. I mean, like, why do we stay, like, why does it work so well? Even more than if you had taken, as you said, like multiple animals.
I think the dogs are more accessible. Just like, there's obviously a lot of pet owners, right? A lot of dog people, pet people, cat people. And so that's a giant market. And so I think it made the movie, I think, easily gettable,
Mhm.
right? And then yeah, I'm the same. Like I give my dogs voices, right? And we always talk about what they're thinking at the different moments when they're barking at each other. What are they really saying, right? If they're marking a tree and the next dog marks the tree, it's like all this really funny behavioral stuff that was like, oh, this could be a whole segment of jokes in this movie, is just the dog behavior and what our point of view on it is comedically. And so that felt really good,
Yeah.
right? And then
Carries a
we
lot of
started.
weights.
Yeah, and I think it's that accessibility. Like I always talk about that a lot. From my earliest work of Dexter, the show was really about a brother and sister relationship. That's what we got right. Everything else is bonus, but that's what people like. Oh yeah, I know these feelings, and then everything else is gravy.
But you get to add in the adult humor, the very adult humor, which is fun to read the comments section on your stuff because there's some pearl collectors out there who was not expecting this from you.
No, no,
Yeah. Um, but it's also like, I don't know, man. Like it sort of feels like we've been in a conservative time for comedy, and because this reminds me of, some of the stuff that we would have traded back in the 80s and 90s or something
right.
like that, and I don't know if that even crosses your mind because I'm seeing signs of life, I guess, with like Ted and even the Naked Gun to a point, of doing that stuff. But like, were you at all timid to go into this world this far, kind of at this time?
Well, no, I mean, I tried to go into it in 2008,
Right.
which is even a different time. And for animation especially, and it's like, we always believe that, why is animation any different, but it's the stigma that animation carries with it, that it's still thought as kid fodder, right, even to this day. And the success of adult animation on Netflix, on Adult Swim, on Hulu, everywhere, it's so popular, right, that why can't it translate into a movie length, right, either theatrically or streaming? And so I've never had an issue with it. It was just about having other people believe in it and pay for it, basically. And so we always existed. And like you said, like I remember when like I think we're probably the similar age, but when Akira came out, Akira was like this VHS that went from place to
Right.
place, and you saw it, and other people told you about it, and it's this adult action drama, crazy, great, but in outside of America, everybody's already there,
Hmm.
right? We're just stuck in this place, right? And I always believe it takes one show to break through, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna put that pressure on Fixed, but I mean the hope is like maybe it'll creak the door open for me to get another one in, and then all of a sudden it can become something, or somebody else can break it in.
Yeah. For me, by the way, I think it was Heavy Metal was the one that got passed to me, and
Oh
that
yeah,
was something like that, which is its own,
yeah.
especially for being a younger person. But all of this would lead me to say that, you get to go far. Sure, we see a lot of testicles in Fix, but if every dog has its day, every dog has a butthole on this one. And how many different ways can you draw a doggy butthole?
We drew them so simple. They're all a circle with an asterisk in it, and that's it. It's really, it's funny how people are so shocked by it, and I guess I'm just desensitized. Uh, But I think kind of what happened was we have this kind of classic nostalgic animation style
Mhm.
that it starts out like, oh yeah, this feels nice, right, to get into this world. And then all of a sudden it goes to this contemporary, audacious, raunchy comedy. And that's very graphic,
Mhm.
right? Even though there's no dog penises, there's nothing really
Right.
dirty.
That's the interesting thing, by the way, is that we get balls, we get buttholes, but you never get the lipstick.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. And I think
Because that takes the ratings somewhere else or what?
well, that crossed the line for me. Like I don't
Okay.
really want to see that. I don't want to feel like I'm doing something icky.
Sure. Yeah.
Like my sensibility is not that. And so that was kind of our line that we never crossed. And so yeah, so it's all in your imagination,
Mhm.
and then we would argue like I remember we had our first screening and the first act, and I storyboarded most of it, and it was all it was butts and balls all over the place. And the executives and some artists, we all watched it, and the first reaction was like, wow, there's so much, and we had this 30-minute discussion of, is it too much, is it not enough, like what are we doing, because you can't measure it to anything else,
Mhm.
right? And I said, look, number one, it's out there in real life, right? And you notice it, like I know when I'm a dog park, I go, there it is. You don't stare at it,
Sure.
right?
But we see them, sure.
We see him. That's right. It's just so normal. And so I'm like,
Mhm.
why can't the audience accept it as well?
Yeah.
And that was my pitch on it. And
It just stays funny, luckily. I mean, that's, we all turn into 12-year-olds again at some point, and some of that just stays funny. As does so much about it, and the acting and the character acting and everything. Which I was going to ask about a couple of those, but I didn't want to run out of time. Is Papa Doug anyone real? Because
now you're the first person who caught that and said it.
nice.
Yes, it is. When I met my wife, it's her, I guess my father-in-law, her dad. And when I first met him, he had a giant mastiff,
Mhm.
this dog named Dreyfus. And I've never seen a big dog. I've never had a dog my whole life. I grew up in apartments. And this dog comes at me, and it's like 200 pounds, up to my waist, and it's so intimidating. And then I bonded with him like crazy, like became besties. And because of him, we started to get dogs. We got big dogs initially, and so Doug is his name. And so we named the vet clinic after him because he's kind of the one who kind of introduced me to these amazing dogs.
That's one of those moments when you see it, like that's got to be something because you could
Yeah,
have called it anything.
right.
Got to be something. I love that. I love that. And some of those actors. I mean, Adam Devine. Like I can't imagine now that voice being in anyone else. But Idris, especially getting him to deliver those lines, that must have been fun.
Oh my God. And he loved it. And like, listen, back when we were making it, he was in line in the conversation for becoming the next James Bond.
Uh-huh.
Right. So I was
Right.
like, there's no way he's going to do this voice. Right. And sure enough, I sent him the drawings and the script, and he loved it. And he hasn't really done a lot of comedy. Right. So he embraced it and he was so excited. And I think initially, like I envisioned Rocco like more of like a Clint Eastwood type of voice, real low key. So he's cool, right? Like almost like a Jason Statham. And then Idris goes like, "Bull!" And he really big. And I was like, it's so funny. And it's so just him. And I'm not gonna direct him to go anywhere else. I'm just gonna
No notes.
let him be that guy. Yeah. And he owned it. And I think it made that character a little more unique.
Uh-huh.
And he had the most amount of lines talking about balls
Right.
with all the different euphemisms that we had for that. And he loved it, just loved it. I think we had one speech where we had 5 different ways we called it. And he was laughing and he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite characters, I think, in the whole thing. And they're all great. They're all great. And what you've done with it, I mean, again, it's so much fun. I will watch this again, and I'm sure I will watch this again.
Awesome.
And just knowing that you had to fight for something and that you stuck with it and that you saw it to the end. I think there was a fan online that called this your Megalopolis, which I thought was pretty funny. Um, do you have a lot like you're always I'm sure everybody's always working on ideas. Like, do you have a lot of these on the back burner? Are there other things that you're like constantly fighting for? Is that how it works?
it kind of, I think after Unicorn, that was, I think, one of my last ones that I got through. There's still two or three that I'm kind of giving up the fight for to a degree, because I think I've moved on just subject matter wise. And so I think all the stuff coming up are more fresher, newer ideas to keep, to move on to the next phase. And there's some that are 5 years in already. Like, and is it going to see the light of day? And I don't know. And I'm still trying to champion them. It is. It's like this, you've known all the Hollywood backstories to all these different movies, and sometimes it can happen like this, and other times it's a decade of struggle to have somebody believe in you, to do something different. That's the thing. Like, I can sell a movie easily for the most part if I just go with the flow of what everybody else is doing, right? But because I want to do something different, it's more challenging. Right. So I've done enough that I can get in the door and start the conversation. And Fix took 17 years to finally get it out there. And so we're heading towards the right direction, but it's still not an automatic, hey, Genndy, what do you got for us? Let's do it,
But those are the moments that make legends right there. When you do get them, when you do something different, and that's what it takes. I'm so happy that you are doing what you do, and we get all of these different projects. Fixed is so much fun. I so appreciate what you're doing, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.